performers of the May 13th Strike Celebration rehearsed for the events at Chiang Kai-shek Memorial Hall in Taipei. Tzu Chi volunteers revisits the first Burmese farmer who saved up a handful of rice to help other people in need. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Margaret Lin. Thank you for joining us. This year, Tzu Chi's Strike Celebration ceremony will be held on May 13th. Since this year also marks the 52nd anniversary of Tzu Chi, many volunteers are putting all their efforts to prepare for the celebration. Let's join them with the most recent rehearsal.
As the volunteers sing together, the atmosphere at Chiang Kai-shek Memorial Hall is stately. Under the bright sun, Tzu Chi volunteers are energetically rehearsing for the upcoming Strike celebration. The touching Buddhist songs are playing one after another. In order to have the Buddha's curtain go up smoothly, volunteers form an emergency helping team to make sure the procedure goes right again and again. They are the spotlight of the venue.
The brothers in the Northern District Emergency Helping Team are learning to pull the rope diligently. They're cultivating teamwork spirit, and we are very satisfied.
Another highlight of the celebration is the icons formed by people on the plaza in front of the concert halls. An order and action, other than using the marks on the ground, volunteers practice repeatedly to achieve accurate and smooth performances.
More than 10,000 people have to work together to form 3 circles. The middle part is the turn of guarding the earth, so everyone is the mother that protects the earth. Also in the center, we have 10 circles that are all young people who are playing drums.
The theme guarding the earth is the cornerstone of the ceremony. Hence, volunteers use their movements to interpret the symbolic meanings of each formation. To pass down the humanistic culture in Buddhism, Dharma masters will take the young people to perform the jump at the Buddhist ceremony.
Everyone has a natural Buddhist spirit within, and through the drum beats, we can bring out the Buddhism nature in our hearts. When the person is able to show their Buddhist nature, there'll be light and no obstacles everywhere they go.
Buddhism teaching is very important in our life because the Buddha lights up our heart. So we should use the enlightenment to light up more people's hearts. This way the world will be full of light.
Everyone has a Buddhist nature within. Praising the Buddha is the way to bless oneself to be a Bodhisattva on the earth.
Because of the birth of Buddha, that us mankind can truly understand the wisdom and compassion in our life. Here we gather everyone's heart and efforts to celebrate the birthday of Buddha, as we can also clean the worries in our mind. Through this ceremony, we can feel if we are improving or not.
Many Dharma masters have been participating in the Buddha ceremony for years, and they especially make time to practice for the event. These Dharma masters are very touched that there is such a spiritual ceremony here in Taiwan.
Combining many different temples and organizations so that the whole world can see how united and harmonious we are here in the Buddhism world in Taiwan.
All these Dharma masters have been very willing to join the ceremony in the past years. We hope that we can use actions to make impacts and help the mankind with compassionate beliefs and will of wisdom.
On the Buddha's birthday, Tzu Chi will gather over 10,000 people's heart and effort to wish the society safe and sound, as well as a peaceful world free of disasters.
2 foreign students from Malawi will join the drum performers at the ceremony in Taipei, Taiwan.
Following the music, they perform with neat movements. Aisha and Alian stand out among the crowd because both of them are foreign students from Malawi. With the volunteers' invitation, they are performing drums on the Buddhist ceremony.
We are already a Buddhist disciple back home, so we really want to participate and are very interested in this. We've been practicing Kung Fu since little, so these movements are not a problem for us.
Other than learning Kung Fu, these 2 young men also receive Buddhism education in Chinese in a Buddhist academy, hence they are familiar with the Buddhist teachings. However, when Buddhist combines with drum performance, every single word must be understood carefully.
It's impossible for me to practice without knowing what it means. It won't be as fun. So I need people to explain to me the meaning so that I can truly understand it.
The person who accompanied them since they came to Taiwan to study is Gu Lanjun. She has served as a volunteer in Africa for the past 10 years, hence they've made a connection with her.
When I was in Malawi, it was still our sister country that time, so the master sent us there to host Buddhist ceremony there every year on Buddha's Day. They've been the students in charge of preparing equipment for the ceremony, so this time when they heard about the celebration, they came immediately.
The Buddhist ceremony brings back their memory from home, while their participations have added up the diversities of the ceremony and made it more global.
Volunteers in Hualien are working together to make a unique feature which will be placed in the center of the Buddha bathing platform as the annual Buddha bathing ceremony in Hualien. They collected 1,000 PET bottles to create a special cube which rotates, reminding everyone to cherish water. Opening recycling bins in the community, the volunteer is looking for special PET bottles. Because it is not easy to find special PET bottles, the tech has been initiated not only in the community, but in many different schools. Their target is to collect 1,000 PET bottles because these blue and green bottles will be made into a unique feature of this year's Buddha bathing ceremony in Hualien. After the collected PET bottles are washed and dried, the volunteers will face this special challenge. The bottles that have been washed still need to be wiped dry one by one. At the moment, it requires manpower.
To prepare for the Buddha bathing ceremony next week, we wipe the PET bottles clean. Later, we will stack them up and put them together.
On the other end, the volunteers also rush to stick the bottles and stack up the 1,000 bottles in order. To make the special features stand in a stable manner on this frame, volunteers face the challenges of assembling and creating a special base.
If we cut the bottle with a large arc, the top of the plastic tube will be crooked. It will be difficult for us to install it inside an iron tube because it cannot fit in the tube.
The special feature is made with the concept of cherishing water as gold. It is expected that through the Buddha bathing ceremony, everyone will learn to cherish water resources. People usually prepare fresh flowers for Buddhist rites and decorations on the Buddha's Day. This year, the volunteers at the Minchen Jinsi Hall in Taichung will use the eco-friendly plastic flowers that are made of recycled PET bottles and plastic bags. The flowers, they are like translucent glass, are made of these recycled PET bottles.
We used the PET bottles that were recycled at the recycling station. Now you can see we have a big one and a small one. After cutting them into the shape of a lotus flower, we then combine the two and turn them into a lotus flower.
Since Master Zhen Yan expects that everyone extend the life of items, the volunteers came up with an idea using PET bottles and plastic bags to make plastic flowers.
Recycling stations are full of treasures. If we turn disposable materials into useful items, then each one of them will have vitality.
After the instructor trimmed the plastic bag, she then rolled it into a flower.
It's not difficult work. I cannot grasp this with my hand, so I have to use the twin adhesive tape.
The Minchen Jinsi Hall in Taichung will not buy fresh flowers for the Buddha's Day this year. It will use the eco-friendly plastic flowers made by volunteers to decorate the venue. In our continuing series about Tzu Chi's work in Myanmar, today we will meet the first farmer who saved up a handful of rice to help people in need. His kind acts inspire other farmers, and other people soon follow him. Tzu Chi volunteers recently revisited this farmer. Let's take a look.
那一把米呢，就是每一个人少一口饭，就可以有一碗饭呐，就可以供应另外的一个人。那不就是人人8分饱吗？那2分就人好。
In the morning of Myanmar, one sees the soft sunlight. Going along the river, we're looking for the first person who started a campaign of saving up rice to help people in need.
In the past, we had to take a 1-hour boat ride to reach this place because there wasn't any road. Now there is a road.
10 years ago, in the aftermath of Cyclone Nargis, city volunteers distributed rice seedlings to help the farmers. In the past, this journey took 3 hours, as the volunteers had to drive, transfer to a boat, and then walk. After the road opened up, the journey shortened. Driving along the newly constructed highway filled with yellow dust, the volunteers finally reached their destination.
The abbot of the temple had allowed us to store the rice seedlings in the warehouse. It's regrettable that the abbot is not at the temple today. He went to the capital. We've just called the abbot. We haven't been here for many years and the village has improved a lot.
These old friends were nicely surprised to see the volunteers again. How about a person who saves up a handful of rice every day? How is he doing? The visitors were surprised to learn that Wu Ming-so had a stroke. It shows that life is impermanent.
158下面90，这是正常吗？稍微偏高一点。对吧？奶奶里面的，奶奶里面。但是它里面没有高血压的药。他讲我这一片这里会热，会热，然后所以他不再继续吃。那没有吃就好了。没有吃1个月，啊，那就谁嘛到都打完了。打哪老师？打完了。你家没？啊，还是热。
There's a lack of medical information in the village. Therefore, the villagers are unclear about when to take their medicines. The doctor is reminding him to take medication. At lunch hour, he mentioned that his wife passed away 4 years ago due to illnesses. In the past, Wu Ming-so's wife would save a handful of rice before every meal.
We want to donate more than a handful of rice. This is the least we can do. No matter how poor I am, I will donate a handful of rice.
Back then, he was impoverished. For the past 10 years, he experienced illness and lost his beloved wife, but he never stopped donating rice.
After that, I've been saving up rice. It is still meaningful.
Surprisingly, when Wu Ming-so faced the most difficult times of his life, helping people had helped him overcome the challenges.
If further checkup is needed, team of members in Myanmar will help him arrange it.
Meeting these old friends has brought a smile to Wu Ming-so's face. We got to know him because of Cyclone Nargis. His kind act of saving up rice to help people in need has evolved into a campaign in Myanmar. Giving of himself without asking for anything in return, he has inspired numerous people.
After the massive earthquake in Mexico, Tzu Chi volunteers have continued to hold free clinics. In the future, they plan to hold 4 free clinics each year to help local residents.
Today is the last day for this trip here. We are here today to have a sort of Q&A section for the local volunteers. because we want to understand what they have done so far.
It was a very productive training session because we worked on all the different areas that we can do good deeds in. We learned about the charity mission and how to conduct home visits.
I think they need a few things. Number one is the experience. How did you do the medical outreach? The second thing is the encouragement. I think we come here to encourage them to do more.
You have to make sure there is a consent and volunteer in this area are willing to support another area.
We were fascinated by their discipline ever since they arrived. But on top of that, we were fascinated by the way they manage spirituality. I saw how this was a key point for people to change from a negative state of mind to a very calm, peaceful, and lovely state of mind.
I think we plan to do 4 health fairs here each year. So each time when we come back, we will do more volunteer training or go with them to see their clients. We want to make sure that they are doing everything right. In the very near future, I think there will be a lot more local volunteers that will join together.
An Earth Day activity was held in Quezon City, Philippines. A painting competition and Poppy's Place were organized to teach young people about environmental protection.
Through the puppet drama, the event advocates the importance of environmental protection. Both adults and children are focusing on watching the play. There is also a painting competition to illustrate the damage environmental pollution can bring to humans. The series of activities for Earth Day and Tzu Chi volunteers are also invited to participate. They encourage the public to collect plastic bottles, and some people bring a whole bag they collected over 1 week.
Picking up garbage is a simple action, but has a great impact because we can decrease pollution caused by trash.
We
used to think that trash is just trash, but through this activity, participants will see that these recycled resources have great values.
Volunteers also seized the chance to promote the importance of recycling and reuse these resources. They show the outcome to young people with the hopes of motivating them to join.
We really hope that everyone can learn about this and can do recycling and reuse resources in daily life. I hope this can help us to not suffer from the flood again.
The event lasts from day to night, and the public shows great passion to join as they want to be part of the efforts to protect the earth. Everyone helps to clean out the garbage after the event because they want to save a clean land for future generations.
In Taiwan, there is a vendor who sells scallion pancakes in a market in Fongyuan, Taichung. Her husband died 8 years ago, and she had to raise 7 children by herself. Now, 8 years later, most of her children have grown up and are working. Her strong will allowed her to be recognized as one of the self-supporting mothers by the Taiwan Fund for Children and Families.
Mrs. Chen sells scallion pancakes at this small stand at the corner of a market to raise 7 children.
Someone wanted to adopt them, but I refused because they were my children and I want to raise them.
When her husband died 8 years ago of heart attack, her eldest son was in high school and her youngest daughter was not even 1 year old. But Mrs. Chen hung in there.
I had to be strong. If I hadn't been able to raise them, the kids would be taken away from me.
2 of her children are working, with 5 being still in school. When it is a holiday, they will help their mother.
During this period, it was very tough to her. Now the kids have grown up and all suffering has their rewards.
This family is very close to each other. Mrs. Chen tells her children to be grateful.
We don't have money to help people, but we can do it with our strength.
From her contact, we know that she receives help now, but she can also help other people in the future.
This strong mother did not give up on any of her children. With her confidence and zeal, she has finally overcome the tough time of her life.
11-year-old Xiaolin lives in Kaohsiung. Her mother even tried to end her life 5 years ago when Xiaolin's father died of cancer. However, Xiaolin has been encouraging her mother and earned scholarships to lessen her mother's burden.
Xiaoling's painting shows the innocence of a little girl, but her personality reveals a mature nature.
Wow, it's a scholarship because we have no money now, and without money, we can't pay our rent, water, and electricity bills.
Since second grade of elementary school, wherever there are scholarships, she will try her best to get them, considering her mother is a sanitary worker with an injured leg that makes her walk unstably. Unfortunately, now her mother is not only mildly physically challenged, but has also lost her job. The drastic change of the family began when her father died of cancer when she was 6.
I was thinking to leave this world with my husband. Later on, she told me that she heard me talking to her auntie that if her father died, I will die with him. She said that way she will be the most miserable child in the world.
Xiaoling helped relieve her mother's grief and also physically helped her mother to walk, as they are like best friends. Her filial piety often earns her many scholarships from different organizations.
She's very mature and knows how to shoulder the financial burden for her mother. I hope these children receive similar care like regular children while they are pursuing their education.
While some companies support her education, the Taiwan Fund for Children and Families helps to cultivate Xiaoling's painting talent with the hope that one day she can be independent and be a reliable shoulder for her mother to lean on.
Learning to have compassion from a young age helps these students understand how to help visually impaired people. Jiang Shujun is an alumni of Xin'an Primary School in Taipei City. She is also a senior volunteer for Taipei Parents Association for the visually impaired and is in charge of arranging vibrant experience courses.
Wearing an eye mask and everything is dark, how do you manage to shoot the basketball? However, this male student here scored easily.
I listened to the sounds and I found the sound is lower, so I need to throw the ball higher.
The ball is hanging right below the net, so the visually impaired people can also enjoy the fun of playing basketball. It's not easy holding a cane while there are many obstacles along the way.
I feel very insecure and it's very scary. It feels like the road is very narrow and I can't pass it at all.
I would tap the visually impaired person's hand and let him hold my elbow so I can guide him.
Helping the visually impaired to cross the street, other than experiencing courses, there are also professional instructors teaching them tips to assist them. 204th graders are listening carefully.
I hope to promote this on campus so children can learn to have compassion and help the visually impaired population. So I think in this part, we need to enhance their knowledge about it.
Advocating for humanity and the preciousness of having a good heart in humans, this kind of education is something we should teach the children as soon as possible.
Both the teacher and students have unforgettable experiences after 2 classes and 8 tournaments. Compassion is no longer just an idea, but it has taken roots in their hearts.
The Tzu Chi Liaison Office in Kunming, Yunnan held its first camp for college students to learn about filial piety by serving the elderly people in a nursing home. We will leave you with these images. Thank you for watching.